Lonzo Ball is officially a Cleveland Cavalier. Isaac Okoro is officially a Chicago Bull. Here is the statement from Cavaliers President of Basketball Operations, Kobe Altman, on the trade. Quote, "We are very excited about this opportunity to acquire someone with the skill set and versatility that Lonzo Ball brings to the team. We have built a team for sustainable success, and finding a way to improve around the edges has been our focus this offseason, and the addition of Lonzo represents part of that process. I would also like to thank Isaac Okoro for his professionalism, hard work, and true grit he brought to the court during his 5 seasons in Cleveland. We wish Isaac and his family nothing but the best in the future." End quote. Again, that is from Cavaliers President of Basketball Operations, Kobe Altman. And there is a line in there that I think is critically important to where the Cavaliers are right now in their roster building process. I know we were talking last segment, Nick, about how maybe Kobe is not as cemented or beholden to the core 4 as we might think. Maybe he would have a little latitude, a little flexibility there with maybe moving on from 1 or 2. Obviously, those names would be Jared Allen and Darius Garland. Darius's name came up in the Kevin Durant conversations that reportedly took place between the Cavaliers and the Phoenix Suns. But Altman's talking about in his statement here, finding a way to improve around the edges has been our focus this offseason. That line right there caught my attention. I don't know about you.
Yeah, improving around the edges. What's that mean? That means that you guys had holes last year. If you're improving around the edges, that means that the puzzle is almost complete. But like Kobe Altman said, at his end of season availability, you look at the Boston Celtics before they won the title. They had to go out there and get Drew Holiday. You look at the Denver Nuggets. They had trades that were made that pushed them over the edge in their pursuit of a championship. So Kobe Altman realized that there were things that needed to be worked out. We saw that, and it was evidently apparent when Darius Garland's name was mentioned in the trade conversation for KD. You know, you tried to make what would have been the biggest splash in the NBA today. That would not have been an improvement
around the edges. That would have been a
you're throwing both hands on the desk and all the puzzle pieces are going up in the air type of thing. But getting better around the edges is the Lonzo Ball move. It is the Sam Merrill extension. So it'll be fascinating to see if they try to continue to do small little things to get better around the edges, or if there's a bigger fish in the pond that they could go out there and really shake some things up. The nice part is about this part of the NBA offseason, like today technically is the first day of free agency.
Yeah.
Obviously, all of the deals have already been agreed to. There's not many big things remaining that can happen. Like in terms of free agent signings, you're really looking at guys that will be on minimum deals. Al Horford is probably the biggest remaining free agent out there. And then you've got really small vet minimum guys, MLEs that'll get signed. And then it's all trades from here until the deadline later this winter.
Yeah, I feel like right now, if I had to call it, Core 4 is back. Change comes at the trade deadline. I'm calling my shot right now.
But that's fascinating to me. And you know, time it's one of those things where time will tell. But I kind of agree with you. However, if the trade isn't going to come till the trade deadline, my question then would be why? Because we've all said that the 82-game regular season does not matter for the Cavs. It's all about playoffs, playoff, and finding playoff success, finding the right players, finding the right formula to get the Cavs out of the second round. So if there's a trade to be made, I would argue it should happen now, because
here's
the
why it
price
should
is
happen
probably
now.
a lot cheaper now than it would be at the trade deadline. Trade deadline stuff is when teams are desperate.
Yeah, well, here's why it doesn't happen now. 1, Darius is coming off surgery.
Yep.
2, you give it an honest 3 months. Okay? November, December, January, boom, trade deadline, February. So actually it's over 3 months, okay? You give it an honest 3 months to see whatever adjustments you make this offseason. And I'm not talking roster. I'm talking about like philosophically,
Yes,
coaching-wise, rotation-wise, system-wise, play-wise, all those things, right? You give it an honest 3.5 months to evaluate if the deep dive we did this offseason as to why everything crashed and burned against the Indiana Pacers in the second round, if our adjustments were the right adjustments and if they're ultimately going to work. Okay? Because right now, I think you can make an argument that if you make a big move now, it's made out of emotion, right? You got bounced. You got bounced in the second round for the second straight year in 5 games. Yes, injuries were a factor, but they were not why you lost the series. You didn't show up for game 1, or you weren't ready for game 1, I should say, to be accurate, because players talked about when the series was over, they weren't ready for game 1, which is mind-boggling to me. Game 2, you blew, right? You're up 20 points, actually up 7 with a minute to go. You blow that. You have a complete no-show in Indianapolis when you got a chance to really make a series of things, and that basically ended your season. You got blown out by like 40 points. Okay. So you really give it until mid-February to see whatever tweaks and adjustments that were made in the offseason and how things progress in the regular season. Now, to your point, Nick, the danger in that is exactly what we saw this past season.
right.
Cavaliers were the best team in the Eastern Conference, basically wire to wire. They, I was sitting here talking about them going to win the championship, win the NBA Finals, or play Oklahoma City in the NBA Finals. It felt like a team of destiny. 15 games in a row, 12 games in a row, 16 games in a row that they won. And quite honestly, we ultimately did not get the true picture of this Cavalier team in the regular season. It looked great, but the nitty-gritty, right, postseason, it didn't. So that's the danger in what I am thinking about. Hey, you give it till mid-February, really see where you're at. See if the tweaks and changes Kenny Atkinson makes works. See if the improvements that Kobe Altman made on the fringes, as he said in his statement, following the official acquisition of Lonzo Ball for Isaac Okoro in a trade with the Chicago Bulls. It is July 6th, so things are now becoming official around the NBA. Teams are making announcements of previously reported moves and deals that have been struck. But we all got fooled a little bit during the regular season last year, I think. And so that's the danger in me saying, yeah, hold off until mid-February. See if the changes you make work, because I don't know. Do you really get the true look that you're seeking, right? Do you get the answers to the test before, you actually take the exam, which comes playoff time.
So, I want to emphasize and stress that Kobe Altman in this statement is kind of right. Like, the moves that they have made are fringe around the edge type moves. Like, you look at the guys that they subtracted, and I'm looking at the roster and the depth chart here, and I'm not going to get into the Tyrese Proctors and Luke Travers and Naquan Tomlin, the guys that are filling out the back end of the bench.
Right.
I'm looking at the guys that are going to contribute or had contributed in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
The Cavs had 2 guys that they lost and subtracted in Isaac Okoro and Ty Jerome, who are no longer here.
Right.
They've gained Larry Nance Jr. and Lonzo Ball. Is that enough? 216-474-0092. That you went from Darius Garland and Ty Jerome as your 2 point guards to now Darius Garland and Lonzo Ball. Your 2 guards will remain the same in Donovan Mitchell and Sam Merrill. Your 3s and 4s are all the same. Strus, DeAndre Hunter, Dean Wade, and Evan Mobley. and your 5, Jared Allen and Larry Nance. You lost Isaac Okoro. You lost Ty Jerome. You've gained Larry Nance Jr. and Lonzo Ball. Is that enough of a shakeup to get the Cavs closer to whatever Kobe Altman's vision for this team is? However, they're trying to break the ceiling that's been the Eastern Conference semifinals. Because to me, when you lay it out there like that, Isaac Okoro and Ty Jerome for Lonzo Ball and Larry Nance Jr. feels a little lateral, doesn't it?
I
feels
don't think
like there's got to be something bigger coming on the horizon.
I don't see a lot of extra mental toughness and physical toughness in those moves.
I also don't see a lot of experience. Lonzo Ball's a guy that hasn't played in very many or very meaningful NBA playoff games. Larry Nance Jr. is a guy that when he was on the Cavs was one of the worst Cavs teams ever. And now Larry's game has evolved since he was here the last time, and he's added a 3-ball to his arsenal. And I think Cavs fans will be excited to see this new version of Larry Nance Jr., who I think will fit a smidge better than how he fit here before. But boy, I don't know that this is enough. It feels like to me that maybe there's got to be a bigger move on the horizon here.
Well, the Durant conversation, I don't want to say it was an eye-opener.
But wasn't it? Because it taught you that they're not in love with this group.
Yeah, but it's Kevin Durant, though. If you have an opportunity to make an offer for one of the best players in the game, you do make the offer. That doesn't necessarily mean you're
rental. It would have been a renting a 36-year-old Kevin Durant. You would have parted ways with Darius Garland, who still, again, we're all under the assumption, is still stepping into his prime. Evan Mobley, if the Cavs are going to win a title, probably has to be their best player. Right now, there's too many cooks in the kitchen, Daryl. Like between Garland, Donovan, Mobley, Allen, there's only one basketball. And the fact of the matter is, when there's 2 7-footers on the floor at one time, I think just the floor spacing is a little convoluted for Evan. Like, that's why if it were up to me, Jared Allen would have been the first issue that I would have addressed this year. I would have tried to move Jared Allen, even if it seemed like you were losing the trade on paper, even if you were just trading Jared Allen for a role player guy that would come off the bench. I do think when you're looking at this thing, you got to start to factor in fit, and Mobley and Allen just don't fit together. I think Mobley takes that extra step in his game when Jared Allen is gone and jettisoned from the organization, because that will be what allows Mobley to be more assertive with the basketball, like people are looking for.
Well, and I think it's a progression here for Evan too, as far as
he is just 23,
right? And it took Tim Duncan a little while to get going in his career as well. Like, I'm not worried about that. There should be a point where, yes, Evan Mobley should be the best player on the team. He should be the focal point. He is the future. Right now, Donovan Mitchell's the present, but Mobley is the future. There is no chance the Cavaliers are trading Evan Mobley. Okay, that just is not going to happen. And that's why you heard Kobe Altman during his end of season wrap-up press conference. He talks so much about Mobley and the importance of Mobley as far as taking that next step and really becoming the guy for this team, the focal point. And again, that's no shade at Donovan Mitchell, but they recognize the talent that Mobley has.
Right. And they understand that that's the way that the game is moving. Name me the last small guard that's led his team to the title. Like, SGA is not a small guard. For the most part, the players that are getting it done are still bigs like Nikola Jokic and athletic bigs that can move like Giannis Antetokounmpo and wings. And the Cavs certainly don't have a wing. That's been kind of exhausted and an exhausted point. So you're looking for that unicorn big that could do everything, that could take the ball off the dribble and create his own game, his own offense with the basketball in his hands. That's what Mobley needs to evolve into and what he needs to ultimately become for the Cavs to go as far as they can. And the way that the core 4 and the roster is constructed right now, I think there's just too many guys in his way.
Yeah, they got to open the floor for him. And I think that's part of what Kenny Atkinson tried to do last offseason. They're going to continue to try to do it This offseason, you saw Mobley take that quantum leap, defensive player of the year, all NBA honors, all that kind of stuff. And now it's on him. And that's why Donovan's going on podcasts talking about, hey, I'm going to demand of Evan to take that role, to yell at me when I'm not getting him the ball enough. And again, that just speaks to the unselfishness of Donovan Mitchell. Donovan realizes that it's not his role to carry the team by himself. Yes, he's a superstar. He's a perennial all-star. But when he's scoring 48, the Cavaliers are usually losing the game, right? So it's got to be Evan Mobley that's really going off. And it's good that Donovan recognizes that.